everyone. Let's stand and rise for pledge of allegiance at this time. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First of all, welcome tonight to our regular board meeting and work session. And just before this meeting, we did hold an executive session. We didn't take any, all we did was talk about personal business. No actions were taken at that time. As we continue on, if there's any public comment at this time, we ask that you keep it to 3 minutes. Step up to the podium and give us your name and address as well. Any comments at this time?
I do.
Thank you.
It's kind of a question / comment. I had something up, but I forgot on the later. Matt Koenig, Stedman Street, Sarah, PA. May I ask you just a question? It's nothing. I'm just curious, when was our last athletic committee meeting?
September 7th? 8th.
I believe it was September 7th.
We have a meeting this Wednesday.
I know we have a meeting this week, Wednesday, Mr. Shaw.
Okay.
And so how many board meetings for the school board have we had between the last meeting? Only one? Regular board meetings like this?
2.
So we've had one athletic committee meeting and then 2 board meetings after that. My only question is, because I was watching some of the JV football last couple board meetings and I missed it, was any of the stuff we discussed at the last athletic committee meeting brought up to you guys in your executive session or discussed about with the board, such as athletic director, maybe coming up with a more full-time thing for that, or what are we going to do about a football program moving forward towards next year if Mr. Gorman steps down, or anything with the sports, who's coaching basketball, stuff like that. I haven't been made aware of that. I plan to be on Wednesday, but I guess what worries me is, you know, the crowd has definitely died down in here, but I haven't forgot about the athletic committee meeting and how important that is to me and the kids that I coach. So I'm just wondering if there's been any action towards what our last meeting was. It was basically just a question. If they made any action to what Mr. Shaw presented from our meeting, if the board did any action on that in the past 2 meetings.
Okay. Do you want to answer that, Jim, or anyone?
I didn't hear your last part, man. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, is in the last 2 board meetings, if anything we discussed at the athletic committee meeting, Mr. Shaw, was discussed amongst the board as far as the athletic director and the other suggestions we brought up for wrestling, because wrestling season is around the corner. And I left that meeting, the last athletic committee meeting, they were going to look forward to move forward to do some different signups for wrestling for junior high and varsity, and I have not heard anything different via school board meeting.
We're going to talk about wrestling tonight.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Koenig.
Okay.
And also, Mr. Koenig, I think you had asked if we had hired a basketball coach. I think we did that at the last meeting.
Junior high and varsity. I'm sorry, I was at a
That's
football
I
game.
understand. I just
We
wanted to let you know.
hired a varsity coach
And junior high.
And junior high.
Okay.
at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Like I
At
said,
the last school board meeting.
yeah, okay.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to approach the podium at this time?
But can I just add a comment, Mr.
Sure.
about athletics? Previously, we used to meet every month, and we changed it to every other month because there's no need to meet, in our view, to meet every month about athletics. So sometimes things get delayed, so just want to make you aware and everyone else aware of
I
that.
just don't want it to be forgot about, Mr. Shaw.
No,
You know,
we've talked
you know
about
it's
it.
high on my radar, I just don't want it to be forgotten.
We've already talked about it, but we're meeting every other month unless needed. And we met in August,
Yeah.
and we met in September, and now we're meeting again. So
Okay,
on Wednesday, 6 o'clock in the
Yeah.
library.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Shaw. Any other comments? Okay, next on the agenda, a special presentation, Dr. Delosio.
Actually, I would like to have my yellow folder back.
I thought you may.
So I would like to present Mr. Ron Cole with the Board of Directors for Pennsylvania School Board Association. Ron is been serving our school board for 12 years of service. And I'm He fills in as our president when Mr. Cotrini is unable to attend, and so they start to push, they put that information out for years of service. It's a dedicated service, it's public service to our school district, and we appreciate you, Mr. Cole, and I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you. Best thing I can say in this case is, I've always been taught that you always, if you volunteer for something or if you work at something, an occupation, you have to enjoy what you do. And let me tell you something, I do enjoy this, being on the school board here. And I thank the members of the board, the administrators, teachers, the entire community for this, because it's quite an honor. And like I said, you get elected to this position, people really think a lot of you, and I think a lot of them as well. Again, all I can say is thank you so much, everyone. I work with a great team of 10 plus 2. I got to throw Mr. Claypool, and I got to throw Mrs. Luchego in here as well. My partner usually on my right here, so but tonight you're on my left. So.
And just so that everyone is aware, our school board members do more than just attend these meetings and our executive sessions beforehand. They serve on many boards beyond the board that they sit on here. I know that we have members from our board that also serve at the IU. Mr. Cole himself serves at NTCC and represents Sayre while he's there, as well as PSBA. He's a regional director, I don't want to name that incorrectly, regional
Advisor.
And he travels all over the state and provides information and shares it. And they attend webinars and different conferences and bring information back. And they do a lot of extensive reading beyond the hours that they put in here just in the meetings and in the executive session. So I appreciate all of the board members, and tonight we're going to honor just Mr. Cole.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank everyone. Thank you. Moving along here, we have a consent agenda. Boy, I don't know how to talk tonight here. We will be doing a consent vote on item number 2, item number 3, also on number 5, number 6, and that's it. Items 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Can you just say what the headings are for those
Sure,
people that
sure,
are
be glad
looking
to.
at it?
Be glad to commence. Number 3 would be on instruction, the conference request that we have, also a letter of agreement and an affiliation agreement, as well as field trip request, district volunteers. Then on number 5, it would be finance with our transfers, our treasurer's report, and our tax report. Number 6 would be policy, first readings, and the final readings of various captions.
Move for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'd like to abstain on number 3, item number 6, on the conference request. Moving along to item number 4, athletics and recreation, Mr. Shaw.
As I said before, thank you, Mr. Cole. As I said before, we have an athletics meeting this Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the library. As far as wrestling goes, Mr. Koenig, I hope I can answer your question on this. We plan on having a full league schedule if we have 7 or more wrestlers signed up. Currently, we have 3. If we have less than 7, we're going to do individual matches and tri-meets like we talked about at the previous athletics meeting that you were at.
Yep, exactly.
Currently, we have 9 junior high signed up for wrestling and 3 for varsity. Open gym starting in a couple weeks for winter sports, and I believe the first practice date for winter sports is November 18th. So, and we're gonna have a meeting Wednesday night to discuss other items.
That's all I wanted to know was where we made out with that, Mr. Shaw. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. As far as that goes, that's all I have other than the approval of the, you have the, yes. the
Yes,
list.
and we'd like to make a recommendation, a motion to approve the athletics and recreations personnel as presented. Dr. Delosio, you have those names.
I do. Alicia Mott for the recreation basketball coach, Ralph Warner for the head varsity wrestling coach, and Aaron Roberts, junior high wrestling coach.
We have a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion, and we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote on this, please?
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew.
Yes.
Ms. Alsing.
Yes.
Mr. Hickey.
Yes.
Mrs. Kmetz.
No on the varsity coach, yes on the other two.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Skircon.
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes. Going to number 7 on our agenda. Yes, we did have the motion that was approved on item number 4. Moving along to item number 7, it should be page 7 on your agenda. It's a motion to pay the bills. We have a motion?
So moved.
So moved, thank you. Second?
Second.
And we have a second.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
I need to abstain on one.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Seeing that we do have a motion and a second, no comments? We have a roll call on this.
Okay.
For Mrs.
We'll be,
Yeah.
Let's try that again.
okay, we'll begin with Ms. Alsing.
Yes.
Mr. Hickey.
Yes.
Mrs. Kmetz.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes, abstain on 91.
90. Got it.
I believe it's 91.
Okay.
David?
No. The number Mr. Clayton would be I'm sorry, 92.
92. Mr. Skircon.
Yeah.
Mrs. Agnew.
Yes, except I abstain on general fund number 1.
Mr. Cole.
Boy, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you, Mrs. Jago. Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes. Thank you. Number 8, board discussion on the Litchfield property. Dr. Delosio.
Sure, as I shared with the board, we talked about property in executive session. We had not maneuvered through the negotiations for the Litchfield property, and so I wanted to bring it back for discussion to the board about the future of the property and what we might do with that property. Anybody have any information they would like to share or points of view? We can bring it back to the table at the next
I
meeting.
just think we're in a position where we're going to need to relook at putting together a request for proposal and going back out. I think that's kind of where it sounds like things sit, so that we're really clear on, you know, what we're willing to accept and get as, you know, far-reaching of a pool of inputs that we can get.
Anything else?
I think also it's important to acknowledge that there was, both through the bidders and through the community, interest in greater acreage associated with the property. So looking more towards that angle. So
with that, I would be happy to reach out to Joe Landy and begin to work with him through that and pull an RFP together and bring that to the board at the next meeting for discussion purposes. Okay?
Is there a way we can do that? And this may not be, you have to run this by Mr. Landy, but the bidder can request the amount of acreage that they want. Because some bidders might be interested in an additional 10, some bidders might be interested in the entire property.
I can ask him about that rather than predefining it as a board, open it up as I see if that can go into that advertisement for the RFP. Okay. That's what we have next.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Ms. Elsing, Mr. Spurpont, and also Dr. Delosio for that information. Moving down to reports, high school principals report. Ms. Ely. By the way, good evening, Ms. Ely.
Good evening. Okay, so we are in the midst of planning for homecoming. We've got activities that are happening both Friday and Saturday this week. We've got a pep rally scheduled at the end of the day Friday. The dance will be that evening from 6:30 to 8:30. Saturday is a full day of volleyball games. The archives will be open for the public to go through. We'll have the parade later in the day, the crowning of the queen, and then the bonfire that evening down at Riverfront. We've been collecting items for Rusty Rail, and I just want to remind families that items can be brought here to the school, and then any of those events on Saturday, you can bring items to that as well, and we'll collect them. Next Monday evening, we're going to have a senior recognition event for all fall athletes, band members, and cheerleaders. So parents of those students have been notified. If you have a senior, though, that falls into one of those categories and you need more information about Monday evening, you can reach out to me or Mrs. Abby in the main office. The end of the marking period, believe it or not, is fast approaching. It will be October 31st. We will have parent-teacher conferences shortly thereafter here at the high school on November 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then on November 4th, which is that Friday, all day from 8 to 3:30. And families should look for information to come out very soon regarding this, about how to call either their individual teacher to schedule that, or we can go through the main office here at the high school if you want to do a group parent-teacher conference. And the last thing is Students Against Destructive Decisions, our SAD group, is planning a Spirit Week event for next week, which is Red Ribbon Week. So all of the themed days will be sent out later this week. That's all I have.
Mrs. Ely, did I hear something about a volleyball game during a pep rally or a volleyball game during an event during the day?
Yeah, we're hoping it actually happens. Yes, so Monday we're having the senior recognition that's happening that evening. We're doing something on a student scale that afternoon before we leave here, so that those fall athletes, cheerleaders, and band members will be recognized in front of the student body. And then we're going to have a friendly girls volleyball team versus Sayre High School staff team play against each other. So I've been warned that we might have many staff members call off on Tuesday because everyone will have to just sit in bed with their icy hot, but I'm hopeful. We're going to do our best, and we might. I've had a couple people, Mr. Palumbo in particular, who have said, "Oh, we'll show those kids how it's done." So those girls should be ready.
So did we ask Mr. Shaw, is he available to ref that game? Do we have visuals from
I'm not a volleyball guy.
Yeah, I think actually Coach, the girls volleyball coach, Savrin, I think he's going to be our ref.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
When does the Rusty Rail Drive end? What's the ending?
I think it was supposed to be the 16th. Mrs. Lamana would know much better. She heads up student council.
Yeah, student council advisor, Mrs. Lamona, did they make that decision?
We're not sure exactly if it's November 16th. It was going to be November 16th, but there was a conflict. So we're hoping maybe the 15th or the 17th. We have to get in touch with Athens, see which date works for them.
Okay. And the dance, is that open 7 through 12?
It is, yep.
And parent-teacher, can parents schedule an online? Is that correct?
Online, like
Like a Google Meet?
we have a Google form.
Say I want to come in November 2nd at 3 o'clock, can I schedule that online instead of having to call the office or call the teacher?
Right at the moment, no.
Okay.
Okay.
So are you asking to have the meeting online, like, for example? a
No,
virtual
The
conference?
He wants to
schedule
schedule
the
it.
meeting
Yeah.
online to have the actual parent-teacher conference in person.
I can think about
I
that.
thought I
but
saw something in one of the emails that's come out from the school to that, but I might have misread it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're just going to have that capability to schedule with like the whole group of teachers. If I have a 7th grader and I want to meet with the whole team, that I could call the main office and they will facilitate making sure I can meet with all those teachers at 5:30 that evening, that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think we have an online capability.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ely.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Morrell.
No, you forgot his sister. Mr. Howie.
Oh, Mr. Howie, I'm sorry, Howie. Mr. Howie, an assistant with
Yes.
school. Sorry about that, Mrs. Morrell.
That's all right, Mr. Cole. Just more gets checked off, my report just keeps getting.
Okay, Mr. Howie.
It won't take long. We're just about, like Mrs. Ely said, we're almost to the end of the marking period, so I went to look at what our discipline referrals were last year up to this point and our attendance. The 4 big hitters last year were, for discipline, were late to school, failure to follow teacher instructions, cutting class, and disrupting a class. So I used I pulled the same information for this year, again, just for this time frame. I didn't use the whole year. Number of total referrals are actually up this year, but the number of unique students are down by almost 20. Attendance is up, so late to schools are up, but failure to follow teacher instructions are down by 1/3 of what they were last year across the same timeline. Cutting class, same thing, down by about half. Disrupting a class, down by about half. So how do we have more discipline referrals? Apparently perpetual lateness to class, which has grown exponentially. We don't have a bell system, so sometimes Pavlov's dogs don't always remember, like 3 minutes is 3 minutes. Hopefully we're getting trained on that, but we certainly had a huge uptick on that at the start of this year. Attendance is very similar the same way. We actually have almost 20 less unique students absent this year up to this point than we did last year. And by cohort, like this year's seniors, there's 2 more absences than there were last year, and that's pretty much the way it goes all the way. The freshman class is actually 5 less. Everybody else is like 2 or 3 more. So attendance and discipline seem to be pretty even keel. It seems like we've attacked some of the discipline issues, disrupting an educational environment and those sort of things seem to be coming down like we would hope. And as we keep them down, we'll focus on the next group. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr.
Real quick,
Yes,
I
sir.
probably should have asked Mrs. Did OCP start already?
Yes, for seniors.
OCP for seniors
Just for
started
seniors.
at the beginning of October, yes, sir.
Are juniors allowed to do it or no?
Starting in January.
January? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howie.
When did we start OCP for seniors?
October, the very beginning of October.
Okay, Mrs. Morrell, let's see what's going on up at Snyder.
All right.
So good evening. Thank you to everyone who helped out at Snyder today. I was at a regional meeting. I heard it was a very calm and quiet day. My fellow administrative team, I'm sad to report that we have some policies to go through for Title I review, so I'll be bringing them to the table, just a forwarding to admin meeting. Thank you to Valley Energy for their STEM contribution. Those funds were used to purchase 3 printers and a library, and Mrs. Leonard is putting them to good use. Thank you to the Sayre Rotary. Every 3rd grader received a dictionary, and as pointed out by Mr. Jeff Hall during the presentation, many of our graduates still come back and comment that they've taken those same dictionaries off to college with them. Monday, October 31st at 1:45 will be our Halloween parade at Snyder. Just a reminder to viewers of the parade that everyone will need to drive off of property at the end of the parade. That way we can reset the Walker pickup line. Some people that may not want to be part of that process, we don't want them to have to be stuck in that line until pickup begins. So thank you for your cooperation with that. Our 5th and 6th grade students recently visited the Wall That Heals. I heard many positive comments from both the teachers and students. The visit also created a renewed interest in social studies, other battles and wars that took place, and some that even occurred in our own history and present day in our community. Thank you to Mrs. Susan Jarrett and all the other people who made that possible for us to go down and participate in that event. There was a professional development day on Monday, October 10th. Teachers in grades K to 5 developed action plans. Beginning of the year assessment data was used in order to help students make progress among their reading goals. And finally, thank you to Visions Credit Union and Mrs. Powers for the Visions Loves Educators program. We received $458 in funding for that. So thank you for their efforts in reaching out to us and making that happen for our students. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mariah.
You're welcome.
Student Services, Dr. Tejan.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to start off with a special populations update. So currently we have 175 students with an IEP, 42 students with a 504 plan, which actually is a little bit up from my last report. 5 students who receive gifted services and 10 students who are receiving English as a second language services, with 1 student left to screen. For 21st Century, we currently have 69 students enrolled in the program, so we're making an increase with that, so that's fantastic. We do have about 30 spots left for interested families. As a reminder, we are holding the program on the early release Wednesdays. So the program starts at 2:30 and concludes at 5:30, and transportation runs the exact same way. So grants update, both Dr. Delozio and I have spoken about this in the past a little bit. So during the summer of 2021, we partnered with PDE and Patton to put a plan in place to support students who are at risk of dropping out of high school. So the initiative is referred to as the State Systemic Improvement Plan, or SSIP. So it is meant to support special education students. However, all students do benefit from the funding. So it is a 6-year commitment. We are currently in year 2. So we just received another $50,000 for use during the 2022-2023 school year. So as a portion of this 6-year plan, we are utilizing the funds from both last school year and this school year to remodel and renovate the former Family and Consumer Science space. So that space is being transformed into a cafe for our students. We haven't really talked fully about this yet. So special education students and regular education students will partner together to run this cafe after its grand opening, which hopefully will occur in January. So we are very excited about that. So our life skills students will be creating the menu, creating procedures, preparing the food items, selling items to customers within the school. So students and staff are welcome to purchase these items. And the cafe will run under the direction of Mrs. Courtney Granza. So we are excited, so more to come on that. And that is it for me tonight, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tejan. going to the PASA PSBA conference coming up on the 31st of October. You have till the 21st of October to register for that program. Lots of good topics in education, as well as other information from the state that will be given. And one of the big highlights, I think, of that conference is going to be that the Pennsylvania State Treasurer, Stacey Garrity, will be there. And of course, she's one of our alumni here at Sayre. And so I'm looking forward on going to that session, along with Dr. Delosio, and also Ms. Riley will also be going down there. Also bringing back other information from that conference for everyone. And quickly, the Center for Rural Pennsylvania Board of Directors is hosting a public hearing on youth mental health and Pennsylvania rural schools. That's going to be held on October the 19th down at the state capitol from 8:30 in the morning till 10 a.m. And one of the people that will be involved in that will be our own State Senator Gene Yaw. That's everything I have from PSBA. Next, the Northern Tier Career Center. Just want to let everyone know that the 5th grade tours will be taking place starting, let's see here, November, December, and January. So just want to make our staff aware of that. 10th graders will also be doing some shadowing, as well as being involved with a presentation down there for their cosmetology courses down there as well. And I just wanted to make a quick mention that this Thursday night we'll be meeting down there at 6:30 p.m. And just a couple of quick reminders as well, that the Blue Fountain Cafe down there is open, and if anyone is down there in the Towanda area, I hope you get a chance to stop by, because the students do a great job. They're great cooks, and I'll tell you what, you can eat pretty cheap down there for some good food. And they are open Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 11 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. And then also, if you're in the mood to get a haircut, the cosmetology clinic down there is open Tuesdays and Thursdays. 8:30 in the morning till 10:30, 12:15 to 2:15, and 3 until 6 in the afternoon. And so if you need any information on that, get in contact with the Northern Tier Career Center. And that's everything I have from Northern Towanda. Mrs. Agnew, the last IU 17.
I have nothing tonight. We meet actually this Wednesday, so I'll have something for you next meeting.
Continue on.
Yes, Saturday Creek. It's winding down, where we'll be doing winterizing up there. Except November the 20th, the sled dog race will be happening like it has the last couple of years. We'll have more information on that, and hopefully be able to put it out on our Facebook and webpage of the district and stuff. Otherwise, that's really all that's happening up there right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Agnew. Seeing that Mr. Quattrini isn't here for a board president's report, I just want to make a quick mention of all the different events that we've been able to hold. Like, for instance, the homecoming weekend. I know it won't be the traditional homecoming that we're so used to with football games and stuff, but October 21st and 22nd, come for the parade, come for all the activities. It's going to be a fun time for the family. Want to make mention again, as Ms. Ely did, about the fall sports and marching band senior night reception on October the 24th. Again, I want to thank everyone for that, put that together, and hope that the seniors have a good time there. And also the spectacular on October the 25th, down here at the Lockhart Street Bowl for Snyder students. And of course, I know there's going to be loads of high school students involved with that. Hand out candy and goodies for the kids and the staff, and like I said, I'm very proud to say that, I'm glad to see that we're doing this, because it seemed like we got off to a rough start to begin the school year, and now it seems like everybody's going for a purpose and for a reason to do something good for the kids here in the high school as well as in the elementary school. And also a personal thank you to Dr. Delosio for keeping us on the hiring edge. As we've lost some instructors in the past, but it seems like she seems to be on the cutting edge as far as being able to hire new personnel to come in here and take care of our students. We've had some very good hires, and I think the reason why I say that is because I read so much throughout the PSBA of different districts throughout the entire Commonwealth that they have problems hiring staff. But here at Sayre, we've really been on track with bringing new personnel in here when we lose people. Thank you, Dr. Delosio.
Thank you. I will say that's a team effort,
Absolutely.
a huge team effort.
Can I back this on?
Go ahead.
Usually I'm used to, but we've got to do a vote on the PSBA officer elections. Dr. Delosio, I think you have the information. I'm sorry. I'm not used to having motions during that report, so.
So for the 2023 positions that are open, and we need to have a vote before October 29th, so the president-elect for a one-year term is Michael Borzett. The vice president for a one-year term, Allison Mathis. A three-year term for the Central Zone representative is Julie Preston. The trustees, Kathy Swope, Roberta Marcus. That's what we have this for. Put that in the motion?
Yes.
Okay. So I recommend the election for PSBA officers.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Just want to make a quick comment on there. I know all these candidates, I've had a chance to interview them. And like I said, we have some very fine people that will be coming up through. And I also want to make mention too that Julie Preston, who is, I believe,
Northern Tioga.
From the Northern Tioga School District, she'll be our Central Zone representative over the next couple of years.
It's a three-year term.
Three-year term, okay. So, and like I said, we've got some good people there. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you, Dr. Delosio.
You're welcome.
Your report is next.
So I was able to cross a few things off as individuals were sharing. I do want to just go back because I couldn't remember if I heard it or not. I do want to share that the parade route is different due to the road construction that has occurred.
What road?
Every street.
So has your suspension not been challenged over the last couple of months, Mr. Skirboard? Because mine has.
No, because Robin's a good driver.
Right, so the parade route is out on our Facebook page, so if you need to take a look at that, we still will be starting at the Union Uses parking lot behind there and coming down Desmond Street. Typically, we come down Lockhart Street. So just make sure you take a look at that because we will not be throwing candy on Lockhart Street this year. So if you want to get some of that good candy that will be tossed, make sure you look at that parade route and get a great spot. The parade route is a little longer than it was last year, so we're in the years past. I also want to give a shout out to Susie Ann Jarrett. I cannot thank her enough for her hard work and dedication to the community as a whole, for the work that she did to bring the wall that heals that sat at Riverfront Park for the half of last week. And I really want to thank her for reaching out in the beginning of the summer to offer so many opportunities to Sayre students. If you were able to go down and enjoy the wall, it was fantastic in the evening when it was all lit up right there on the ball field, in the outfield of our teams. For our field, but specifically our woodshop students that got to make the benches, our musicians that were able to be spotlighted when they were playing taps as well as singing the national anthem, and our 4 grade levels that were taken by their teacher, and here at the high school, the history teachers escorted our students in 11th and 12th grade down to enjoy that. And I know so many of our students also then took their parents back that evening from the experience that they had. So I just want to thank Susie Ann for giving us that opportunity and bringing that wonderful the monument here, the mobile monument here to our Sayre Valley, so I appreciate her. I want to say that. The last thing I have is a very special announcement. So I attended an event at Mansfield University last week, and I have received a document from the Commonwealth University for guaranteed admissions for Sayre students. There are many other school districts that are signing a document, but before the board, I am providing you with what's called a guaranteed admissions agreement between the Commonwealth University and the Sayre Area School District. This will guarantee all students, if they choose, entrance into one of the 3 universities. And I'm going to pull the information up. Here's the way that they can have guaranteed admission into one of the Commonwealth universities, which is Bloomsburg University, Lock Haven University, and Mansfield. They have to be a student of Sayre. They have to apply by December 15th. They are guaranteed on-campus housing at one of those 3 locations, and they are guaranteed up to, I want to repeat that, up to $28,000 in renewable scholarships, simply on their GPA. That's the things that they would be required. So if they have a GPA of 3.8 to 4 here at Sayre when they graduate, they would receive $28,000, $7,000 a year for 4 years for their tuition. If a GPA of 3.5 to 3.79, it would be $24,000 across the 4 years. That's $6,000 per year. If they have a GPA when they graduate of 3.0 to 3.49, it would be a guaranteed scholarship of $16,000 over their 4 years at $4,000 per year. Or if they have a GPA of 2.5 or 2.9 through 2.99, it's a $12,000 scholarship for $3,000 per year. So again, I want to repeat that is a guaranteed admission for Sayre students and many other school districts across the Commonwealth. If they apply by December 15th, have a GPA of 2.5 or higher. That's all the requirements are to be guaranteed admissions if we assign this agreement. So, in front of you, you have a copy of that agreement, and my recommendation to the board to approve the Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania's guaranteed admissions agreement between the Sayre Area School District and the Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dr. Lozio.
Thank you.
And I also want to make mention too, one of the things I forgot to put in the little report here is the fact of how well the students participated in also in that wall of healing. It was fantastic. We had a fantastic event and our students did their very best. Very proud.
So just right before the movement of adjournment, sorry, Mr. Skirkles, I just wanted to share that Mrs. Ely and I attended the event last Thursday at Mansfield University, and it was a wonderful reception that we were able to attend, and we will be passing forward all of the information for Vika Schaefer, our high school counselor, to pass. We will be sharing this information. They've given us flyers to put out on our social media, our website, and information to our students, both juniors and seniors, as they're moving forward in their making their selections for their post, high school careers. So.
And Joe, just on that point, before we get to adjournment, I would start talking to 7th graders and their parents. I mean, so that they're, that they have some motivation relative to, getting prepared. So, once they get to 9th grade, the GPA starts, right?
That's right.
So, just as a, as an incentive for those students.
So one of the things that Mrs. Schaefer had shared was having an evening for parents of 8th graders for course selection before they head into 9th grade, and that would be a great place to put this information forward to those parents at that meeting as well. Thank you.
Actually,
hold on, Mrs. Ely has something to add.
I was just going to say, when I gave Mrs. Schaefer all the literature that the Commonwealth gave us on Friday, she said, oh, that's kind of funny. I think they're coming in this Wednesday. Their rep is. So she's got all the papers and she's going to give them out to kids, but they'll be here Wednesday that they can talk to some students.
Great. And before you adjourn, I got to know before you mentioned that Mr. Skirba is a former Mansfield alumni to get with Mrs. Edgerton to make that part of our college and career ready standards in 5th grade as the students transition to 6th grade to hear about all that free money that's available to them as well.
Very good.
I'm done talking.
Motion. Wait. Wait,
one real quick thing.
I'm withdrawing my motion.
I just want it to be known that Sarah JV, as of today, was 6-0, and they're playing right now. Mr. Koenig, are they winning?
6-0.
What's that?
Yes, they're winning.
They're winning, so they're gonna be 7-0, 7-0 at the end of the night. And still have one more game, I believe, with Athens in a couple weeks. So just want to point that out. If Mr. Bernie or Mr. McDonald are listening, can we get some promotion of the Sarah JV football team on Valley Sports Report in the morning times?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Now,
I withdrew my motion. It's gotta be somebody else now.
move for adjournment.
Second.
Can I ask some questions?
Thank you, everyone.
Am I thinking it's Jeff, or can I just ask one question? Is there any updates on what we talked about a couple board meetings ago, and I haven't done everyone, but with like you guys were talking with Athens, you know, you were meeting with Athens about all that. I didn't see anything in the agenda about that or anything about a board meeting about
So
that.
after the last meeting that we had and we shared that information, so
Okay.
they have RFPs from a couple different companies, and they are presenting to the boards on November 1st in the evening to the boards to make a decision on which company they would like to do the study.
Okay.
So that's where we are with the beginning stages for the study to even be selected, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.